What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another anime video game review, this time on Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Impact. Yes, this came out October 8th of 2011. Cool. Unfortunately, this kind of came out towards the tail end of the PSP's life cycle. I mean, the PSP came out in like 2006, I believe, and I think it kind of its life cycle wrapped up around 2011, 2012. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, I got my PSP towards the end of its, like I said, the end of its run, and I got to experience a handful of games on that system, like Naruto and Dragon Ball. There were this title and Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai, which I might talk about. Shin Budokai 2. I played the crap out of these two games. Um, but I have PSP emulator on my phone now, so I can play games I maybe didn't get the chance to play the first go around when I had my PSP. Yes, this was developed by CyberConnect 2. They're well known for doing a lot of anime games. I'm not sure if this was published by Bond. Oh, well, yeah, it's in the corner of the screen. This was published by Bandai, who don't need an introduction. So, oh my goodness, this game to me is basically like Dynasty Warriors. If you made a Naruto game in the style of Dynasty Warriors, what is Dynasty Warriors? For those who aren't familiar, also, I'm going to assume you're a Naruto fan. If you're seeing this, you know the lore, you know the character, you know these characters who are behind me, you know who they are. I'm going into this review assuming you know most about Naruto or Naruto Shippuden. Um, but yeah, so Dynasty Warriors, I'm not sure if they still make games, but it was like a series of games where you would basically have like you would be in a big open space and there would be like countless hundreds of enemies kind of surrounding you, and your character could do all these cool, super powerful abilities, and you could kind of take out waves of enemies and stuff like that. It's a fun genre. I'm sure there's a genre for it. I'm not, but I just refer to it as Dynasty Warrior. um, and that's basically what this game is. You have big, open space. There is a map. Whichever, say if you're doing story mode or something, you have to. There'll be like a little beacon on the map and like the corner of the screen, and you'd have to, traverse through the map and through the mission and all that cool stuff. Um, but yeah, so this game is kind of like Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 mobile, basically, which isn't bad for anyone who's played the Ninja Storm games, which isn't bad. But I would have liked there to have been more. I would have liked if it had a longer story mode. I would have liked if it covered the events of like what took place in Ninja Storm 3. Of course, this is way before Ninja Storm 4 had come out. That was towards the end of the Naruto Shippuden story. Oh, I put my phone on vibrate. Ignore that Adams Family notification. Uh, um, but yeah, I would have preferred, they had took the story elements from Ninja Storm 3, and or it would have been nice to have gotten a part 2 to this game. It really bothers me this game is just a standalone title. Kind of like with Dragon Ball Fusions, which I might talk about, where Dragon Ball Fusions for the 3DS was a really cool game and really cool, you know, gameplay mechanics. I guess it was like an RPG type of game. Um, but that never got a follow up. It did get DLC content around the Goku Black arc. They did get some DLC content, but we didn't get a part two. And of course, now the 3DS they no longer make games for that system. So that's a huge shame. Like two really solid spin-off type of games, and two, you know, being a part of two really huge anime properties, and they didn't get follow-ups. It's really crazy to me. There was a mobile game. There was a mobile game. I forgot the name of it. I'm not sure if it's still available on the Play Store. I played a little bit of it, but you could kind of see that as a spiritual successor to this game. Now, it doesn't play in the same style of this game, but they use the same game models from this PSP title in the mobile game, and like characters who don't appear in this game, like the first Hokage, uh, maybe like Madara. Yeah, Madara Uchiha, some of the characters who would show up towards the end of the series. Um, they made models for those characters in the mobile game, but in the style of the models in this game. So you could kind of see that mobile game is a spiritual successor to Ultimate Ninja Impact, which is pretty cool. But the storyline kind of covers, like I said, when Naruto returns to the Hidden Leaf Village with Jiraiya Sensei, when he fought Pain, when Sasuke fought Itachi, when they had to rescue Gaara, this character right here with the red hair, had to rescue Gaara, um, the leader of the Sand Village, the Kazekage, had to rescue him from the Akatsuki. So like I said, when Naruto fought Orochimaru in his nine-tail fox form, so like I said, pretty much majority of the events that took place in Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, this game is pretty much the same story for this game but it's a little, a little condensed due to it being on the PSP. There are quick time events. There are certain boss fights in this game where there are quick time events, which is really cool. Now, unlike with the Ninja Storm games, if you mess up the button prompt, you don't lose the quick time event. It'll still play out the way it's supposed to, but there is a neat bonus feature where you can go back and rewatch those quick time event sequences, but you can only watch them. You can only unlock them if you do the button prompt correctly in that level. So even if you don't do it right the first time, you can replay the level and redo the button prompt and do it right the second time and still unlock the option to look at the QuickTime events, which is a really, really neat idea, really neat concept. So there's like I'm trying to remember. So the map screen, there's like a map screen. I guess it's like a level. Yeah, it's kind of like the level select screen is in the style of like a map, and it'll have like the little characters and like chibi forms going across the map depending on what character you're playing as in that chapter, which is really cool. I think there are side missions. There is replay value. You can do like a 2-player mode where you do a handful of missions with you and another player or the CPU computer. And they may have some other bonus missions focusing on particular characters. Some characters have more than one ultimate jutsu, which is always really nice, like with Ninja Destiny 3 that I did a video on. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, like throughout the game, you can unlock like certain cards, and you could add them to certain characters, and it'll give them the ability to do, like for Naruto, he could do the traditional Rasengan, he could do the Rasen Shuriken ability. So in order for him to be able to do the Rasen Shuriken ability, you have to add that card that's specifically for Naruto and give him the ability to swap out his ultimate jutsu. So like I said, it's a really charming game. It's a really charming game. Of course, it has the English voice cast. I'm not sure if it has the Japanese voice cast, like as an option to change the voices. The amount of characters in this game, it's reasonable. I would have liked more. I'm pretty sure every character in the game is used in the story mode. I believe so. So it would have been cool to get characters. Like I said, that kind of made me wish we got more storyline, because I would have been cool to see other characters be playable in this game. But for example, Minato's in the game, and the way they use him in the story mode is really cool. And of course, that means that like you get to play as the fourth Hokage in the game. That's really cool. I would have liked more of that. I would have liked more, cool characters like Minato, Naruto's dad, in the game. But like I said, it's very charming. You could download it on emulator, use PSP emulator on your phone. You could play it that way. Download the ROM. I highly recommend it. And the soundtrack, yeah, the soundtrack is cool. Nothing too memorable, but solid background music. Like I said, the voice acting, the soundtrack, the gameplay, the different gameplay choices, the replay value, everything about this game is really, really charming. And it's a shame that it didn't get a follow-up. I mean, not even like on the PS Vita, so that's a huge bummer. And like I said, maybe check out that mobile game. You might like it. But yeah, check it out. Like, comment, share, and peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another handheld superhero video game review. This time on The Amazing Spider-Man for the Nintendo DS. Yes, I would kind of consider this an underrated gem. It has its charm. It's not a perfect game. It's little. I wouldn't say it's bland. It's a little simplistic, which I'll touch on in the review. But it's very charming for what it is. I never played this growing up. Back when it came out, I played this on emulator. I used to have a handheld gaming, third-party gaming device that had an app on it called Happy Chick. Happy Chick had a lot of retro games and DS and Game Boy games and stuff like that that you could download and play. And I played Amazing Spider-Man on emulator, which was cool. I played it a couple times because, like I said, it's very charming. It is a charming game, so it is a game you can come back to every once in a while. But if you see my previous videos, I've talked about a lot of handheld superhero games. I grew up with handheld games. I would kind of consider myself a handheld gamer. But I did have a Wii growing up. I had a Nintendo 64, which was given to me by a relative. And I mean, I've played PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, GameCube games, but I played them on emulator. Once again, played it on my phone. But I have a wireless controller. So sometimes with some games, it's better to play with controllers. Some games I do play with controller, and I bought a HDMI cord so I could plug my phone up to the TV and play the games on the television like they were originally intended to be played, which is really cool. So I still have that capability to play those games on the TV if I wanted to. But like I said, rambling. I talked about Captain America DS, Wolverine for the DS, Incredible Hulk for the DS. There's also Thor and a few Iron Man DS, handheld games. So I don't think I'm gonna talk about Iron Man because I can never get into that Iron Man game, unfortunately. Iron Man 2, I can never get into that game. Thor, on the other hand, Thor is a fun game. I haven't beaten it yet, but it's a fun game. Yeah. So this was developed by Beanox. Cool, I believe they're still around. And this was published by Activision. Like I said, this came out in 2012, around the same time of the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. Beanox also developed Edge of Time, Spider-Man Edge of Time, which I own. I own the Wii version of Edge of Time. And I'm not sure if they probably did the DS one as well, maybe. Yeah, the Edge of Time got a DS and a 3DS port. I haven't played the 3DS one. I heard it's pretty decent. The DS version, on the other hand, I've only played a handful of it. Couldn't really get too far, unfortunately. Like I said, real quick, so we can finally talk about the game real quick, but I have to do the backstory. I saw the first Amazing Spider-Man in theaters. I really enjoyed it. Didn't see the second one in theaters. I saw that later on DVD. I'm not going to get into who's the better live-action Spider-Man. I like them all equally. They all, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland all brought their own unique take on the Spider-Man character. I like them equally. And in recent years, Andrew has low-key become my favorite live-action Spider-Man. So, okay. So, yes, let's get into the game. This is a sequel to the movie, which I like. When I read the Spider-Man fandom, apparently the video games were like a branching timeline from the movie, which is really, really cool. So Amazing Spider-Man 1, the game, and Amazing Spider-Man 2, the game, are sequels to each other, but they are a branching timeline from the movies, since we see Peter fight different villains who didn't appear in the movies. So in this game, Oscorp is up to some shenanigans, like a type of virus or something breaks loose, and mutation, like experiments from Oscorp headquarters get loose in the city, and there's a Spider-Man villain from the comics and from the 90s TV show named Alistair Smythe, and he becomes one of the antagonists in this game. You have to fight the Spider Slayers, which if you don't know what the Spider Slayers are, just Google it. Which is really cool because Alistair Smythe is a really, really awesome, really cool character. He was probably most well known from being in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. So for this game, I believe the console version did it as well. for this game to use him as one of the main villains was really cool. Like that was like a deep, like the developers were doing a deep dive. Like, what character could we put in this game to be an antagonist? Like, yeah, so I really like that. Um, there's a little bit of voice acting in this game, surprisingly. I can't remember his name, but the voice actor for Peter slash Spider Man is the same person who voiced Donatello in the 2003 TMNT cartoon. For any 2000 children watching this, and he did a good job. I would say he's an underrated Spidey voice actor. He did a good job as Spidey, and he also portrayed Spidey in the second game, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Um, so like I said, it's like a 2D side scroller. Uh, the combat is decent. The combat is decent. Peter has a decent a set of attacks that he can do, and of course he can do aerial attacks. And there's one cool mechanic where if you shoot your web, he can swing like doing like a not a dive kick, but like a swing. Like it's hard to explain. Like he's swinging and kicking at the same time, like a swing kick. Like if you had like a rope and you jumped down and swung on it and kicked somebody in the back or something. Um, yeah, and that's a really fun attack to do. Um, there, oh, I forgot one of the really cool mechanics in this game, which I've never seen this in any other Spider-Man game. I haven't played the Insomniac one yet, so I don't know if this is an ability in that game or not. If you want to put in the comments if there's been any other similar Spider-Man game that does this, Peter has a healing factor, which, to my knowledge, Spidey's always had a healing factor, kind of similar to Wolverine and Deadpool. But to actually physically see that in the game, like over time, if you look at his health bar, say if you have low health, you look at his health will slowly regenerate. So but there are health upgrades like that can extend his health bar, but I don't think there are like little items you could get that will replenish the health bar. It'll automatically replenish itself. And I just, for some reason, that is just a really cool mechanic, because that ability of Spider-Man's is kind of downplayed, honestly. So I would love for more games to have that functionality. So that kind of makes this game really unique for doing that. Like I said, I don't know if the console version does that. I don't know if the this game also was on the 3DS. I don't know if the 3DS version does it. But I just really love that mechanic that his health will slowly replenish over time, which is really neat. Um, like I said, the cutscene, the illustrations for the cutscenes, they're okay. They're all right. They have their charm to them. Um, like I said, Gwen's in the game. Dr. Connors is in the game. Lizard. Like I said, the storyline is decent for a follow up to the first movie at the time. The storyline was decent. It's just kind of weird going back and playing it, knowing what happens in the events of the second movie. But it was really charming. It was really charming. Um, Side note, talking about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, a lot of people say that his spider suit in the second movie was the best movie suit out of all the movies. I kind of agree with that. I think it was the most comic accurate. I kind of have to agree with that. This suit, they were trying something different, and I have a lot of love for this suit. This suit is really cool. Like I would low key cosplay as this Spider Man. I do have a Spider Verse costume. Um, so yeah, I do have a lot of love for this suit. It was different, but the second suit was just blew everybody out of the water. Um, but unfortunately, it's a very straightforward game. Like there aren't like unlockables. There aren't costumes. There's like newspapers that you could collect, and you can read different articles in regards to what's going on in the game, which is really cool. That adds to the world. Um, I mean, the graphics, everything, the 2D sprites, the 2D character models all look really nice. Like I said, it's a fun game. It has its charm, but it's just a game. Like, if you haven't played in a long time, like myself, you'll go back and play it and experience it, but it doesn't really have replay value like that. Um, but I recommend it. I recommend this game. Check it out on emulator. Low key, this kind of feels like a mobile game on your phone, low key. But like I said, it has its charm. I recommend it. Um, like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another movie review. I guess you can put this in the Black Cinema category, or maybe it's young adult movie category. I don't know exactly. Um, Dope from 2015. This was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. No, I'm not sure how to say his last name, but cool. Not sure what, not familiar with his other work, but yeah, this was really good. I would say this was like a love letter to the 90s hood movies, sort of, kind of. This is like a black, not black comedy, a comedy drama, or not comedy drama. I forgot what genre, but I know one is comedy and something else. Um, this stars someone who at this point is probably a household name, honestly, and doesn't really need an introduction. This stars Shamik Moore as our main character. He is the current voice actor for Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse duology. I was familiar with him prior to playing Miles. He was on a show when he was younger called Incredible Crew. It was a show that Nick Cannon had. It was like a sketch comedy show for children. It only lasted like 2 seasons. It was really cute. It was really charming though. It was charming for what it was. So I'm familiar with him with that. And like I said, I remember when this movie was advertised in 2015, but I was like a freshman or a sophomore in high school, and even though it was about high school students, I just didn't gravitate to it. Like it didn't look all that fun to me, you know. Like I was a nerd. I like superheroes. I like nerdy stuff. But our three main characters are nerds. So that's what makes it funny. Like, oh, this probably would have been something I would have liked back then. Um, but to say all that, yes, not only does it star Shamik Moore, it stars Zoe Kravitz, the daughter of Lenny Kravitz, and the actress from the first part of Different World and um, uh, Cosby Show, the light skinned daughter. I forgot her name. Also, the actor who played Flash, the bully, in you see right up here, um, right up under my finger. The actor who played Flash, the bully, in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, plays Shamik's best friend, or one of his best friends, which I thought was really cool. The actress who their friend, who she's a tomboy slash sort of kind of lesbian, sort of. She she was the main character in my movie review Sweetheart that was produced by Blumhouse Films. That was one of my most popular videos on my page. I've gotten so many views and likes about that movie. It's a horror movie. It's on Netflix, and she played the main character. She was also Iris in the last Flash movie, so they're good for her. And there are a bunch of other familiar faces in this movie. I think Forrest Whitaker is the narrator for this movie, which I didn't know. I thought that was cool. Um, so yeah, this had a great cast. This had a great cast. For the most part, the acting was good. You could tell some people maybe were new to acting, or weren't like. I think one of our characters is a rapper in real life, so his acting felt a little meh, but he was good. He was entertaining with what he had. So, okay, what is Dope about? Well, we have our trio of friends. I don't remember everybody's name. I'm sorry. They're nerds. They make, for the most part, make good grades. For the most part, try to stay out of trouble. Um, oh snap! Real quick. There's a cameo in this movie for anyone who's seen The Wood, about the three friends who, one friend is getting married, played by Taye Diggs, and they kind of reminisce about their high school years, high school eighth grade through high school years. Um, the actor there's an actor, a character in that movie, The Wood, and he's in that same actor's in this movie, and I was like, oh snap, is that so and so? Like, it was such a fun little Easter egg, and it made me wonder, like, is this the same character? Like, probably not, but like the energy he gave on screen felt like the same as when he was in The Wood, which I thought was really cool. Um, but yes, so like I said, the three friends. Shamik's character is all. Well, I know I'm not sure about the female friend, but I know the two guy friends are trying to get into really big schools. So he has to write a paper. He has to meet with someone in order to get accepted into, I think he wants to go to Harvard or something. So in the midst of being a teenager and all this all this hijinks, they get invited to a young adult party, um, and the person who's throwing the party happens to be a drug dealer, and he invites them to this club. Of course, they're underage, so they're drinking and having a good old time. They really shouldn't be there, but I mean, hey, if someone like that invites you, I mean, why not? Yeah, that's could be a dangerous place to be, but you know, we're young people. We're gonna do dumb stuff. Um, so someone, I believe, comes to rob the drug dealer or something. Of course, there's gunfire. Everybody's running, trying to get out of the club or whatever. And someone puts the drugs that the drug dealer that they were trying to steal from the drug dealer. They put the drugs in Shamik's book bag. So now him and his friends are stuck with it. Um, there's some other rival people who want it, who are trying to hunt them down, chase them down. They're trying to find a way to dispose of it, and we find out some kind of some plot twisty type of things happen. Plot twist type of stuff goes on, um, which I can't really spoil. But it had a good story. Like I said, it felt like a love letter to those '90s black movies, cinema movie, hood classics, however you want to call them. Um, they were very, like I said, they were very, very good. Oh, but like I said, the cast did great. Shamik did a phenomenal job um, as playing this character, and just seeing him play a different character outside of Spider-Man was really, really cool. And it makes me think, like, dang, if only we got a live action Spider-Man maybe like 5 years, 5, 6 years earlier. Because I know there's been rumors that they're trying to do introduce Miles into the MCU. The actor, for anyone who's seen Blackish, the actor who played Jack on that show, one of the sons, a lot of people think he would be a good fit, and yeah, I think he would be. I would like to see that. But a part of me is like, oh man, if only we got a live action Spidey years ago, live action Black Spider-Man years ago. Shamik would have been perfect. Like, oh my goodness, just his energy on screen, everything. He was a lot of fun to watch. Um, and we get a good ending. Everything comes full circle. We get a conclusive ending. Everything works out for him and his friends. Nobody gets K-worded. No one gets shot. No, nothing like that. Zoe Kravitz low key plays his love interest, and he yeah, he kind of, I won't spoil that, but it's kind of wholesome. Something kind of happens between them, and they kind of reconcile towards the end. It's kind of wholesome how they make up and all that stuff. Um, oh, and in case y'all didn't know, Zoe Kravitz is, I believe, engaged to Channing Tatum. So you go, girl. um, so that's interesting. But I was about to say something else in relation to Spider Verse. Oh, random piece of trivia. So when Shamik was when he found out about, oh, there's a Black Spider-Man now, in the comics, when he found out about that, I guess he was reading the Ultimate Spider-Man comics at the time. He wrote in his notebook, his personal notebook, that one day I'm going to play this character. Fast forward, and he achieved that goal. And I just think that's really, really interesting. That tells you, if you really put your mind to something, depending on what it is, within reason, you can make your dreams come true. You can make your goals happen. So take that piece of trivia as inspiration for you. Um, but to say all that, it was great. Had a lot of fun. Definitely worth rewatching. Especially, I think it's worth rewatching with friends. If you're in high school, you can enjoy this. It is R-rated, so definitely not a movie you would watch with friends. Definitely a movie. I mean, definitely not a movie you would watch with family. Oh, but you could probably watch this with your sibling, like I said, girlfriend, friends, all that good stuff. But I recommend it, and I believe it's on. I'm not sure if it's on Tubi, but I know it's free. It's free to watch. So just if you have a smart TV, just speak into the remote, and you should be able to find it. But yeah, or you could watch it on the free streaming app on your phone. Like, comment, share. Stay tuned for more. Peace. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another movie review. This time on a movie from 1985, uh, DEFCON 4. It says Defense Condition 4. The last defense, the last hope, the battle for the future of the world, has begun. Well, I wish the poster was. I won't say that. I was about to say I wish the poster was as eye-catching as the movie itself, but the movie was decent. This was directed by Paul Donovan. I said this came out in March 1985. Um, but yeah. As far as the cast, there's only one person I recognized, and I had to check IMDb to make sure I was right on who this person was. Lenore Zan, if I'm saying her name correctly, she was one of the main. Yeah, I would say she was one of the main characters in this movie, but she wasn't the main character. She has a pretty big career. She's a well-known voice actress as well. Probably her most iconic, I don't know if I would say her most iconic, but her most well-known role that she's done in her career at this point is Rogue from the 90s X-Men. For anybody who grew up with the X-Men, X-Men 90s cartoon, or X-Men, she reprised her role in X-Men 97. So that's really cool to see her have a role. I'm not sure how old she was when she did this movie, because she was playing like a college student, high school student. So, but she was good in this movie, and it was just cool to see her do a live action performance, since I mostly know her for her voice role. So, that was really cool. So what is this about? I'm trying to give an example. This is like if you took Mad Max and I wanted to say like if you took Mad Max and Planet of the Apes, but I can't really. There's no animal hybrid people in this movie. Like if you took Mad Max and I guess just made it more sci-fi, because I know Mad Max is like post-apocalyptic. So if you just took Mad Max and gave it a more sci-fi oriented spin on it. So basically we have a team of 3. They're on this spaceship. They're like a secret line of defense for, I guess, the US, in case there was another war, like a World War III or something. They had built-in missiles and weaponry that can be fired on whatever country is trying to start a war. Some shenanigans happen, and their ship ends up crashing back on Earth on a specific location, and we find out later on in the movie like why their ship crashed. Why did it specifically crash in this area? We find out later on in the movie, which I thought was a good plot twist. So like I said, a team of 3, a female doctor, our main character, who's like a computer person, and the captain. Well, when they crash, our doctor passed out, so our computer person, who I'll just call him Phil. Phil ends up becoming our main character. Our captain, well, I won't spoil what happens, but I was surprised, like, damn, like I would have thought he would have been in the movie longer. So they're able to, like I said, so Phil is able to escape from the ship. He goes to look for resources and investigate. So he leaves the doctor while she's still unconscious. He leaves her there, and he leaves her like a voice recording. So like if she wakes up and sees that he's not there, she knows what happened and that he plans on coming back and all that stuff. So he comes across, I guess, some cannibalistic people, and he meets someone who is kind of like living, I guess, kind of like a hermit who ends up kind of becoming his ally towards the end of the movie. And that's Lenore Zan's character. She's also being held captive by this hermit. So the three of them meet each other. Of course, the hermit is hostile at first. He's like, why should I keep you alive? I could just K-word you and take the resources and all that stuff. And Phil tries to reason with them, like, I have a female I have a partner with me, a female team partner with me. We have plenty of food, all that stuff. Like let's work together. We don't have to K-word each other. Um, so we find out that there is Lenora's character. She was in a relationship with somebody. Her boyfriend was like a military brat or something. So when all this crazy stuff started happening, somehow he gained control of the soldiers who were, I guess, being commanded under his dad or whatever. His mom and dad died in they were all in the helicopter. The parents died in the helicopter, some crazy stuff like that. And his name is Gideon Graves or something, which is very funny because I've heard that name before. And like in a show or a movie or something. I don't know if it was a Marvel movie or a Disney show. I feel like I've heard that name before, and I was like, I know I've heard that name Gideon before, Gideon Graves, or however the name went. Like, so I'm curious if they took that name from this character. Um, but it's like crazy. You see this young person just have all this, see all this power go to his head, and enslaved, some of the people, and all the soldiers are just, he's commanding all these soldiers. It was really interesting to watch. Like it was like not a monarchy, a dictatorship? Yeah, I guess it was like a dictatorship. Um, so, like I said, some spoilery stuff happens. Um, a lot of stuff happens, and it does keep you invested. It does keep you entertained. Um, and the resolution, we do have a good resolution, but it does kind of end as soon as the antagonist is defeated, essentially, it just kind of like end like we get a final monologue, and then it just kind of ends, and it's like I kind of would have wanted a stronger resolution than that, but I assume they were working with a certain budget. Um, but like I said, the cast was solid. The storyline was entertaining. Um, because like I said, that is a scary thought. Like if you're an astronaut, or say if you're going on a trip and you're on a plane, and then you get news that your country or the United States is going to war with another country or multiple countries or something, like that's a scary thought, because like I said, you might have family, if you're, like I said, if you're married or something, have children or something, and they're back home, like that's a very scary thought. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen to my country? All that type of stuff. Like, so that's a pretty scary. That's a pretty scary scenario. So I thought for the most part, they did a good job kind of capturing what that would possibly be like. Because when supplies get scarce, you don't know what someone will do to survive or help uh, feed their family or feed themselves or whatever. You don't know what people would do. Um, so I really like that concept. Like I said, I really like the concept of the movie. Um, but like I said, I felt like maybe some of the execution wasn't as good. So this is definitely something I would love to see remade. Like maybe not a big budget, go to the movies to see it, but maybe like see it on like a streaming service or something, like a sci-fi network kind of budget. I think it could work. Um, but yeah, it was good. It was good. It's on YouTube. I recommend it if you're interested. Um, Trying to think. I'm not sure what the next few reviews will just be kind of random. I'll keep it a surprise. So stay tuned for that. But like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Also, yeah, you can watch this on YouTube if you're interested in checking it out. So yeah, peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another Christmas horror movie. Okay, cool. I feel like I've talked about this before, like my early days of being a TikTok movie reviewer. I may have. If I did, I'll have to delete that video, because that back then you can only talk about something for like 3 minutes. And now you can talk about videos for 10 minutes, hence why my videos are so long. Um, but I will be talking about Krampus from 2015. This was directed by Michael Daltrey. Ironically, wow, this came out one day after my birthday in 2015, December 4th. I was born on the 3rd of December. I was born on a Friday. Um, yeah, this is a good movie. This is considered a horror comedy. This is a good movie. If you're not familiar with Krampus, I'm not entirely sure what part of what country, what folklore that he originates from, but he is like the anti Santa. He punishes children for being bad, and he may kidnap them in some or in the early stories or something like that. If you're curious, like I said, Google will probably give you a better whatchamacallit, give you a better explanation, my bad, of who Krampus is. So what is this movie about? Well, we have a family. They're all kind of dysfunctional and kind of butthole-ish to each other. Even the children are kind of butthole-ish to each other. Our main character wanted this Christmas to be just a special Christmas with his family, his mom's side of the family, dad's family, or whatever. Um, and it gets kind of ruined. One of his cousins embarrasses him in front of everybody, like they read his Christmas letter to Santa, like, "Ha ha, you still believe in Santa," or something like that, and that really, makes him like F this, like F all of this, and runs up to his room, he tears up the letter, he tosses it. Why you would toss it out the window instead of just throwing it in the trash can, I don't understand, but he tosses the letter out of the window. It summons Krampus. Um, I will say Krampus's costume, I'm not sure if he's a animatronic or if they used a puppet in some scenes. Krampus looks very terrifying, very well made creature design, very spooky, very, very scary. He has minions, like little, like, I don't know if they're like elves. I think some of the toys come to life or something. Some of the gingerbread people come to life, and he has other little spooky, scary minions that help him take out the family. Kind of a spoiler, but we find out that I believe the dad's mother, so the grandmother, had a similar experience where her parents and maybe her whole village was snatched by Krampus, um, due to them not believing in Christmas and being just kind of awful, crappy people. And now history kind of repeats itself with her grandson. So I believe Krampus recognizes her when she sees him again or something, which was kind of cool. Uh, so of course the family tries to fight back. They're trapped in their house. It's like a huge snowstorm outside. They try to fight. It does, I guess, this situation does teach them to work together. Off topic, for anyone who grew up with The Haunting Hour, Orwell Stein's The Haunting Hour, there is a Christmas episode, which is very interesting, where a family is getting a divorce. They're a family of, trying to think, a family of five, two parents, three children. The youngest son wishes, sends a letter to Santa, like, please, Santa, um, help my family stay together, or something like that. And Santa sends a freaking, not a gremlin, like a goblin or something, some crazy little creature that just caused havoc and chaos all throughout the house. And it does it did help. The family ended up staying together, and the mom and dad worked things out, and they didn't get a divorce. So it did help. Santa did help. He did achieve the little boy's wish, but the way he went about it was like really kind of fucked up and crazy. um I kind of get that vibe, that episode, with this movie. So like I said, the family, all trying to work together to stay alive. Everybody kind of gets picked off one by one. Krampus was going to, kind of a spoiler, he was going to leave the main character, like leave him, um, in the house, which he would kind of been turning him into an orphan in that way, which is kind of fucked up. um, but some stuff happens. Like, I'm kind of glossing over because I want to spoil. I want you all to enjoy if you've never seen Krampus, or if you haven't seen it in a long time and don't remember a whole lot of it. I want you to go back and be, surprised of what you see. Um, so, because I'm gonna have to address this. So we're gonna kind of go into spoilery territory. Um, I believe there was an extended cut that was released on DVD. I could be wrong. But I believe there were two endings. And I believe there was a comic tie-in or something. I read there was a comic tie-in that kind of um, gave an ending that was more like a more clear ending than the movie did. The ending in the movie is a little ambiguous, which depending on the story, movie, video game, whatever, I like an ambiguous ending. I like where it's up to the viewer, the reader, the player to, excuse me, figure out, what happened, what was the ending supposed to mean. So again, getting in spoilery territory. Um, so if you haven't seen this movie, or if and you care about spoilers, come back and watch my video. If you don't care about spoilers, well, here we go. So in the ending, the main character wakes up, everybody's together, happy, smiling, opening gifts, and then they all kind of come to the realization, like they all kind of remember what happened the night before, and the camera zooms out to the house, and then it zooms out even further, and they're in a snow globe on a shelf with other snow globes that have houses in them. So we see they are, of course, we learn from the grandmother's story, they are not the first family that this has happened to. So some people like to think that they were trapped in that snow globe forever, which I like, but at the same time I don't, because I do like dark endings, especially for a freaking Christmas horror movie. I do like dark endings, but on the other hand, it's like, I would have wished we got a more happier ending, And the secondary ending that I think is in the comic, I don't think this was filmed, was it was all a lesson. Krampus was teaching them a very hard lesson, and they're not trapped in the snow globe. The snow globe just represents Krampus keeping his eye on them. Like, okay, from now on, if this ever happens again, and I have to come back, most likely they'll be screwed, they'll be trapped, or they'll be dragged to hell essentially. Um, but this was a warning, so they're not trapped in the secondary ending. They're just the house in the snow globe represents Krampus keeping an eye on them. The first poster, I didn't use the first poster because I couldn't find it in good resolution. Shows Krampus holding the snow globe like this with the house in it, which is really cool. Really, that would make a really cool wallpaper. Um, so, like I said, I like both endings. But like I said, it's a good movie, casted good. The creature effects and the storyline was entertaining. The monsters, the puppets, all the special effects, practical effects is really cool. I haven't seen it in a long time though. It's like this movie, Santa Sleigh about the killer Santa, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Trying to think of another one. Black Christmas, the original Black Christmas. Like, there's a lot of good Christmas horror movies you could binge watch, and Krampus, you could add this to the list. I think there's been other Krampus horror movies as well, but I recommend it. I don't know if it's on streaming. I used to own this on DVD. I think I gave it away. uh, so you'll have to check and see how accessible this is, but I recommend this. It's still a good movie. It still holds up. It's still entertaining. Had a good message, for the most part. Um, so yeah, go give 2015's Krampus a watch. Like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys.